Welcome back to Ryse.
Let's get down to business, to
To
defeat the
the
Britons.
Britons.
So let's move.
So is this
Really,
where the...
you made a Normandy landing reference of all things. Fucking hell.
So, surely this is where the game improves, right?
Check my screen dash.
Oh.
Check out the consoles.
Let me guess, he's gonna get the shell shock from this, like the buzzing in his ear, like he has a grenade. Oh my god, it really feels
Oh, hey,
like the
Saving
Normandy
Private
landing.
Ryan. Yes, I saw that movie.
Again, this is weird. Again, Romans tended to be super overzealous in doing things in mass. They didn't landed on a piece of land so unorganized, even with the accidents with the chains.
It's
This
not
is
like
so
this is 300.
weird.
So, which is interesting too, because the founder and of Crytek and director of this game, he said when he presented this game at E3, he claimed this was a passion project of his. So you'd think he would
I
do
can
more
imagine.
research.
I can definitely see the, a vision of someone trying to be put on screen. The stuff that we see, that we criticize, the repetition of the models, the repetition of the gameplay, those are technical stuff when you get down to it, And the plot may be,
Bare bones.
laughable and bare bones so far. I understand that, but there is still an idea behind it. Maybe fan fiction tier, but there's an idea behind it. It's taking the Roman time and making a pastiche of it, because I don't even know what if it's really the same time Emperor Nero was actually.
Oh great! And now because the fat guy was in front of me, I wasn't able to tell what the colors were.
But I can still definitely see the passion of someone behind this. I just guess that he didn't do his proper research. Or he just based on aesthetics and wanted to do his own Roman fanfiction, which, again, I wouldn't mind that. Again, Shadow Rome is another example that does precisely that. It's just that it sadly needed more onto it than just,
It's one of those things
the
where
presentation.
I think it's kind of similar to something that Jova said in the previous part. Like this game wants to instead of trying to either commit to one side or the other, it kind of tries to find an in between where instead of just it's not trying to be properly historically accurate, but at the same time it's not trying to be completely over the top and fiction tier like Zack Snyder would. Instead, it's trying to reach this awkward middle ground.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, that's another thing that I noticed.
Much.
Because God of War is anything but historically accurate, but that's part of the charm. It's based on classical Greek mythos, and that's what you enjoy. People roaming around killing monsters. I mean, the original Jason and the Argonauts movie managed to do that with skeleton puppets, and it still was awesome. So that's the charming of it. But here, it tries to be this thing that wants to be accurate, but not at the same time.
It's okay. It's like I said, they want to be epic, but at that point they sort of restrain themselves to make this realistic. So they tried to make this realistic, but the problem is that they don't bow to the whims of history. So, what's even the point?
It's similar to Ridley Scott's The Gladiator, which is that's one of the main reasons why that movie is so boring to me, because it tries to be a documentary just with a simple narrative attached to it.
Yeah.
Ow.
So yeah, basically.
You have an arrow stuck in your head.
Oh my!
Brilliant.
How is he not,
Take
how
the
is he not
barricade.
dead?
I think you're supposed to get the banner. Yeah.
All right. So here's how the thing works. Basically, you keep going like this, and if you see the arrows coming towards you, you press A to use the shields. There you go. Yeah, I was showing off. There you go. See.
Yeah, like I mentioned briefly in the previous part, this is what Romans called the pseudo formation, which is based on, of course, on the turtle. I think they partially got inspired by the Macedons, Alexander the Great army, because Romans were all about taking other people's culture and making their own. Not even gonna hide that.
Let me just say.
Sorry,
yeah.
go.
What you do is, after you're done defending yourself, you hold the R trigger, and then you wait till as many arrows as possible to show up, and you'll hit as many archers as possible. The problem is, Okay, this is one of these. You also have to mind the Roman's health right there in the top right corner. If they die, you die. So the big issue is that this is one of these, much like the other part that in 2 parts ago where we were trying to do that thing where I was using the crossbow thing. This is one of these a few attempts of the game of trying to have variety. The problem is these sections are just as simplistic as the rest of the game. It boils down to just press A when they press A to defend when they shoot arrows, and then throw your spears. Do rinse, repeat. It's like the only reason I'm not doing exceptionally well is because this is my first time doing it. But trust me, when you know what to do, it boils down to the exact same thing every time. Just shield when they throw arrows, and then just throw. That's it. And keep doing it until you win. It's as simple as it gets.
I can imagine that.
There's little again. It's a nice attempt at variety, but even the alternate gameplay styles are oversimplistic and
Wait. There are alternate gameplay styles? I nearly forgot.
Oh, remember, Joe? This is what we just did. We did this thing where we're doing the turtle thing.
Oh, that. I thought you meant
Similar
alternate
to-
fighting styles. Never mind.
I think I did this comparison in a game like. Oh, hold on.
Yay!
What?
So, yeah.
We can't hear you, sir.
So yeah, because Command of Italian is not near us, and apparently our Centurion was killed in battle. Marius decided to take the initiative and lead the men into the battle, basically.
So the next
It
seems
was an
to be
actual
someone.
military procedure
So,
anyway, so it makes sense.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Someone Marius knows it looks up to dies, and he assumes a new bout of command.
No. Vitalin is still. Don't worry. Vitalin will be alive until the end of the game. Don't worry.
It was the local centurion of his Legion Jova. No, but
Yeah.
what I was saying before, these also partial gameplay shifts that can be easy to do if you know what you're doing. I think it does remind me again of Heavenly Sword, where you get those sections where you have to control a projectile, whether it be a crossbow or a cannonball, and you have to use the 6 axes to move it upwardly until you reach a target until a time limit. It feels so out of place with the rest of the game, and it's if you manage to master it relatively easy, you can break the game with that, but you're still forced to do them in some sections.
Remind me again, too. What's the rank that's higher than Legionnaire, but still lower than a Centurion?
Let me check the English terms because I don't know.
Probably
okay.
In
If
Asterix, it was called
it's the
option or something.
no. If it's the same as the Tritantum, it's the Curion.
That's it. The Curion.
It's simple as number. The Curion means 10, Centurion means 100.
All right, that makes sense.
But there are plenty of also videos and documentaries into how Legionnaires were structured. But again, it does showcase. Yes, Jova or Dweebs.
Did something wrong?
No, I was just
Hold
cleaning
on.
something up.
Hold on. Okay, so
archers?
now we have to choose. To the rooftops, cover fire from Marius. Provide melee support for you, but enemy archers into the melee. Basically, sometimes I have these sections where you can choose to give your legionaries one of 2 specific orders. And the game will tell you, basically it's a trade-off type of choice, where each choice has its own advantage, but at the same time its own disadvantage. So basically you pick whichever advantage is more precious to you, and which disadvantage is less dangerous to you. So basically, it doesn't boil down to that much, sadly. It basically means, you can have your archers on top, so they'll cover you with fire as they're doing right now, or you can have your soldiers somewhere else doing something else. Again, it boils down to that kind of thing. It's a nice attempt at incorporating Marius's orders as a team leader into the gameplay, but at the end it just boils down to just selecting from a menu. It doesn't really. I mean, I think the turtle sequences do a better job of conveying that, to be honest. Because if anything, there's more to just because it boils down to this. I put the archers on top so they can cover me. All you have to do is, every time they're ready, hold L1 so that they can shoot. That's it. Right now, when I'm fighting, I'm literally holding L1 as I'm fighting. Why? Because the moment the prompt shows up, that way I'll already have the button pressed and it will immediately trigger. So again, if you know how the game is, you can basically use the mechanics to your advantage and just plow through the game incredibly easily. Allow me to remind everybody that this is a blind playthrough, but I was able to learn the game's mechanics pretty easily, and by the time I did, the entire game became a cakewalk. Let's just say. Oh crap! Liz is already bored.
No, I was going I as in yes.
Okay. But no, anyway, to give a proper term, the commander of the entirety of the legion is the Legatus Augustus Praetore, meaning Imperial Legate. The entirety, the entire person who handles the entire thing and with his, subordinates. Then there's the Legatus Legionis, as slightly, the second in command of the Imperial Legate, Then there are the Centurions, which are the more, higher grade officers. And then for the lower in ranks, you get the Optio, the Tesserarius, the Decurions, and the Canus, which are, each of them are commanders of specific type of, with specific type of duties over them.
Yeah, one concept that I find interesting is I remember was the ending of Asterix in the Olympics is how, because Asterix was nice enough to give one of the palms to the Romans so that Caesar would be happy. It ends with Caesar nominating the Roman champion, who's a legionnaire, into a centurion, and the centurion I think I gave him a place in the Senate, if I remember correctly.
It could have potentially happened. Basically, generals who distinguish themselves in battle or were master strategists, when in older age, they earned a place in the Roman Senate.
Basically, if I remember correctly too, wasn't the Senate kind of this group of people who were there to make sure order was kept, just in case the current Caesar would be an asshole?
Pretty much. Well, it's a bit complicated, and it ties back to the entire history of Rome, which is divided into three major categories: the monarchy, the republic, and the empire. The monarchy was short-lived, only 7 kings, and then they decided it was not a good system. So they implemented a republic, and this is where the Senate comes in. The Senate was put in charge because the republic was held by 2 consuli, which were, I think, democratically, voted by both the Senate and the people, to represent 2 of them, just because in that case there wasn't a dictatorship, and the Senate was there to supervise them and to make sure they didn't fuck up. Unfortunately, on the long run, this meant that either one side or the other were essentially conspiring against the other, in a sense, where the Senate were like old manias at cloud mode, saying that the consuli didn't understood a jack shit and wanted to do their own things. It's a bit similar to what happened in China with the Unix system and the Imperial Ages. That's why it ultimately failed when Caesar decided to essentially take over and getting away with it. And after his death, Octavius took over and instituted the empire. If I have to give any kind of credit, Star Wars Episode 3 is a good representation of what happened, just with less people shooting at each other.
All right.
Was there an Order 66 equivalent?
Not really.
Another thing that I was going to mention. After watching Fraser's playthrough, I did find it interesting that apparently in the original release of the game, every time you picked up a scroll, it told you how many of them you had versus how many in total there are. Like for example, you put
that's a usual thing for collectibles.
Usually it would say like for example, you say new scroll collected 1 out of 27, something like that, right? But apparently with the most recent patch, they removed that.
Why did they remove it?
I don't know, but if you look into, go check Video Games Awesome Xbox One reveal day, where they played this game on launch day. So it was the 1.0 version of this game, as originally released, and it did it. And I did notice while watching his playthrough that it said that, but in my playthrough it doesn't, because I have the latest patch. It's weird. Why would they remove that?
Oh, let me guess. The presence of it was causing an unknown glitch, is what Ubisoft would say.
That doesn't
but
make any sense.
But it's just text.
Again, Tio, that's what Ubisoft would say, so of course it doesn't make sense. Remember, they're the same people who said that, oh, Tetris on the PS4 is glitching because people have too many friends. No, I'm not kidding. That
Wasn't
was
that
actually
their
the
also
reason.
their excuse against putting a female assassin in Unity?
Oh, basically their excuse was that a female assassin would be too hard to program, even though that got debunked later by people from within their own division. And you know the fact that we've been having playable females in games since, like, the dawn of games.
Alright, now I can...
Oh.
Protect the catapult, kill the archers.
There you go. Basically, the
Another
equivalent
turret
of a
section.
Yeah, they come with a turret section, basically.
Okay, okay, it's nice that the controls and the aiming doesn't have to be over precise, but am I the one who thinks that it's a little jarring that you're clearly able to shoot for those stone walls at them? Like, I get it, you know, maybe it's nitpicking to expect it to be
I'm more surprised how fast these ballista is.
that too, yeah, but you know, I guess we gotta take
to
some
give a
of it.
comparison, God of War goes through the other direction. Every time Kratos finds a ballista, you have to slowly, charge the entire
Yeah.
shot and then release it.
It is a
It's,
bit, again, it's jarring in a game like this that has clearly been trying to go for a more realistic feel, yet at times just throws it to the wind. And I know what you're
I
gonna
think
think.
that's also another thing, Joda, maybe. Combat-wise, gameplay-wise in general, maybe it's a bit too fast-paced. Maybe. Nothing I say is it has to be as low as molasses as a result. But think of something instead like Hellblade, Sinua's Sacrifice from Ninja Theory. It doesn't have a super elaborate combat, it's slightly similar to this one, just a tad bit more complex. But it takes its time, to do parrying and countermeasures, different attacks and all that shit,
Wow, they're being
So
outdone
maybe-
by...
I'll have to go with your word, I guess.
Well, we can watch any gameplay just to see, but it's
no,
mostly a theory, honestly, for now.
No, I'm just saying because I only completed like the first 2 chapters of Hellblade, and I kind of finished it, and I kind of stopped playing because I didn't. The game wasn't really my cup of tea.
Sure.
It's a fairy game for you.
No, my issue,
But I
my issue
digress,
with-
though. I mean, Tio does have a point, though. For as much as I may rag on Ninja Theory for how their gameplay styles aren't the best, I think that something like Hellblade may have fared this game somewhat better.
You were saying,
Yes.
Pedro?
Well, I don't have enough experience with that game to really confirm any of that. But
Think
the
about it
point
like this, but you know, the pace is a lot slower, but the thing is, like, well, it gives you more time to dedicate towards each enemy.
Well, yeah, well, I did finish that one first boss, so I do have a basic sense of how the combat is. And yes, it is slightly better than this game, I will admit, at least from what I've done. My issue with Hellblade is the puzzle solving. Like, the environmental puzzle solving, I think, here is way too obtuse, and it's so... It creates this thing where a lot of times I swear I find a ship that is exactly like the one the game is asking me to find, and yet it's not, even though it's shaped exactly like the one that the game is asking me, it still doesn't count because it's not the specific object that the game wants me to find, even though this one works just as well. I don't find the puzzle design to be particularly good. I like the story and the atmosphere, but the gameplay in general, I found it to be a little short because I find the puzzle design to be pretty bad, to be honest.
Again, that's kind of a trademark of Ninja Theory. Gameplays being overly simplified or just a chore.
It's not
Or
so much
both.
I can see the idea behind Hellblade, don't get me wrong, it's just that's not the best. Like I said, okay, it's an environmental puzzle. Find this thing that's shaped exactly like this thing we're asking. Okay, fine, that's cool, that's fine. Problem is, if I get into a puzzle where I literally find something that looks exactly like what you're asking me, but it doesn't work because it's not the very specific object that I'm supposed to find. Like, the puzzle design is not flexible. Like, wouldn't it make more sense and therefore reward the player by allowing you to, okay, this is one of the many solutions, but how about there's other shapes that actually are the same, and it can also work. That way, it will make the puzzle design more flexible. Instead of just asking me to find this one thing, even though there's other things that technically also work. It's kind of bad. Well, that's not a good thing either.
No. That's what my guess. I guess that's the right word to say it. It's padding.
it forces, like, I'm not even kidding, like, because of stuff like that, those puzzles take way longer to solve than they really need. Like, it kind of creates this thing where I spend so much time on those to the point where it kind of breaks my interest, to be honest. It's one of those cases where the game has a fantastic idea for a story and a theme and all that good stuff, but the gameplay can be really like, it's one of those things where it doesn't help that I'm stuck in this one place for so long, you know. And I can't move until I figure out the exact specific object. Yeah. Anyway, cutscene.
I guess the music is decent,
Yeah,
if not
the music
pretty
is fine.
good at
I
times.
forgot if I asked who's the composer.
I haven't checked. But I do like the main theme.
And I'll give it this: at segments like this, the music is definitely trying. You know, it definitely feels nice and intuitive. I know
It's one of those cases. Yeah, it's one of those cases, Jova, where the music works well in the game, but it's not really something I go out of my way to hear outside of the game, to be honest.
Pretty much. It's not like it's bland. It's just that it feels definitely best suited for just this
there you
game.
go. The scene. So there you go, Tail. Marius proved himself.
Yay!
Then I guess the
And that yellow chick is still watching us from above for whatever reason.
I'm
look at that.
mysterious.
Let's just say, guys, the payoff to that chick is incredibly lame.
I can imagine already. That face.
So, speech?
So, Vitalian, where exactly have you been all this time?
I'm
Guessing
sorry.
commanding from behind.
I got lost.
But it's okay, guys, because there you go, Tail. There's the Centurion helmet of the guy who died. Again, the game never specifies that the current Centurion died, but considering he has his helmet, I'm assuming he did.
Marius,
Well, he's talking about like that too.
proved that you can lead. You have earned the respect of the men. So, take this helmet.
So there you go. If I remember correctly, Teo, depending on your rank, you get a different type of helmet, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is specifically a Centurion helmet.
That's
Because
also.
if
That's
you
also.
compare Marius' helmet with Vitalian's helmet, you'll notice that they're different.
That's also.
Guys, salute your new Centurion!
If I salute, we go, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say that the salute we were doing was when adopted by the fascists in 1920s and 30s, so...
Hold on, Teo. I love his speech that Vitalian is about.
Stop saying lads!
I know, Teo, but listen.
Are you British or Italian? Make up your mind.
Bastards who will fight us tooth and nail.
Is bastards really a term that you Italians used?
Hold on, Teo. Hold on, Teo.
I'm sorry, Luis.
It feels like these are Britons cosplaying as Romans.
Rome is order. Rome is power.
Oh, man.
Is
And out here.
Rome.
We are Rome.
Okay.
I mean,
Is it just
I'm
me or
convinced.
just-
That's the thing, Teo. See, here's the thing. This game desperately, it's like...
He's trying hard, yeah, I can see that.
Sorry, I'm sorry I missed the meeting. What did I miss?
Again, this game tries so hard to be epic, but it does. Okay, hold on.
King Oswald's barbarian army is advancing on York. General Commoners and the
All right,
South
to York we go.
engage.
General
The
Commanders and the Sixth.
barbarian is called King Oswald?
Yes, King Oswald.
Just to remind you that they're British.
Allow me to remind. So apparently, the King of the Britons is a long-lost Disney character, I guess.
We march.
But no, what I was saying is that that's also why the helmets also have that plumed or they look like a mop with the. Sorry.
Again, Marius, we're kind of in trouble. Do you really think it's wise to keep telling me all of this for hours?
What else are we gonna do?
I mean, shouldn't we, I don't know, try to run, maybe?
There's, there's nowhere else to run.
Yeah, to be fair, we're in the
There's no way
quote-unquote
out of this.
safe place.
That's the thing, Teo.
There is no
let's
way
just-
out of this room except for where we came through.
That's the thing, Teo and Webs. Let's just say, Teo and Webs, when we get back to and we finish the flashback part, let's just say that thing that you guys just said is not gonna fly. Let's just say. But for now, let's just.
Yeah.
So yeah, ever since Marius was promoted to Centurion, right, he works a lot more closely with Italian.
And he has a very fancy new armor.
If they manage to meet up with this army, we don't stand a chance. York will fall.
By the gods. The hairy
Oh, the aqueduct.
our number is 20 to 1. In a
Huh.
fight, we'll suffer heavy losses.
Again, I don't know if it's just me to you, but I always thought Italians had a more lavish language than just calling people lads and bastards.
Okay. This horse has been beat.
Wait, his daughter is Boudica?
Then Oswald
Yes, Boudica. Basically,
What?
the king
I
of the
don't
Britons.
think
The king of the Britons is called Oswald. And
No, that's the thing. Boudica was an actual historical figure.
Vermin dare to step
well, Theo, in this game, Boudica is the princess of the Britons.
Dwibs?
I don't think there's even knows who Boudica was, guys. So
Apparently she was a princess of your country.
Is that understood?
I've never heard of her. I don't think she was ever mentioned in any of the programs that have anything to do with the royal family.
That's the thing, Wibbs. She's very. Shira probably knows better about her because she also has her own special name in the Welsh language.
Oh boy.
As I guess, probably she's gonna hate
there
me.
you go.
for this.
Our mission now
Not
is
Duncan.
while Battalion is fighting all the Britons, we're supposed to infiltrate and try to capture King Oswald and Princess Boudica so that we can hold them ransom and negotiate with the Britons.
Yeah, it's the perfect heist.
Yeah.
So yeah, reach the bottom of the
Let's
river.
go. We have to stop and wait a bit.
Yeah, we have to stop because this is the end of the part.
We'll see you for the next
So-
one.
So yeah, Theo, Princess Boudica of the Britons. I'm sure you're.
I'm very confused.
Well, to be fair, she was a queen of the British Celtic try, so I guess.
Yeah, I know. Again, it's how this game takes these about the good whips. These historical figures and pastiches them around the same time, even though we shouldn't be there. It's kind of like Leagues of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I suppose. in a
Except the
way.
League of Extraordinary
Weird.
Gentlemen had the excuse that they
you
were
see-
supposed to be out of here. This is something that's trying to be set in its own historical setting, and it's becoming all the more blurred because of it.
But don't you see, Jova? Rome is civilization. Rome is power.
I'm sorry,
And out here-
Dweebs. I'm compelled to invade your country because of this.
And out here, we are Rome.
Nah, that'll be all right. We'll just use our.
I
We'll
find it
just, borrow,
interesting-
we'll just borrow some Portuguese pizza and use that on.
Damn it!
Oh, that was a low blow.
I find it interesting, but seriously, I find it interesting, Theo. Was your country called Rome back then? Because I never mentioned Italy in these.
No,
Rome's the
it
capital of
is
Italy.
Rome. Rome is the birthplace. Well, many people say birthplace of culture, even though that's more Greece. But Rome is where it started everything. So yeah,
I get-
it
well,
was
yeah,
always it was always Rome, basically.
I
Roman
get-
monarchy, Roman Republic, Roman Empire.
I
And
get-
when
I
talking
get
at
that.
in the other countries, yes, it was the power of Rome.
No, I get that. What I mean is that so the name Italy didn't exist back then.
No, it started. It's a bit. It's not too long, and we're at the ending of part, so I'll tell you more of commentary. So
All
see
right,
you.
see you, everybody. Maybe in the next part when we're in hotspot.
Yeah.
Kind of, a little bit of history, since this game gets its history wrong. So see you then.
Ta-ta.
See it.